Hi guys, Scott Franklin here from Scott Franklin Performance Coaching. Another interesting concept that I've been thinking about a lot recently is the concept of forgiveness. I feel that a lot of people don't truly understand what forgiveness is. So I've been doing a bit of research on the topic. So Google says that forgiveness is when a person makes a conscious decision to let go of the resentment that you hold towards another person or a group of people, regardless of whether you feel they deserve the forgiveness or not. It also says that it's not about condoning or excusing what the person has done. So I just want to go a little bit deeper on that and what my thoughts on it are. So to me, obviously what it says, it's not about, forgiveness isn't about condoning what someone's done or allowing them to do what they do or even be happy about what they've done. Like, that's far from it. Like, to me, forgiveness is literally within that definition. It gives the answer away. It's when you release that negative emotion that you hold towards that person. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by is that subconsciously, where our emotions come from and attach to other people, and again, it's stuff that we can't see with our eyes. So that's why it's a concept that can be challenging to get your head around. But we attach emotions to other people. It's like an energy, and it vibrates and it attaches to another person. And they can be good or bad. And what happens is when someone does something wrong by us that we don't agree with, we subconsciously attach a negative emotion to that person. Now, that other person may or may not be aware of it, but what happens is at the end of the day, we're the one who ends up feeling shit. We're the ones who end up feeling resentment, anger, pissed off, hurt, bitter, right? We're the ones that have that negative emotion. So for me, from an emotional point of view, where I see it benefiting me and the people that I work with is just releasing that emotion on the subconscious level. Because remember, we've got two brains. This brain up here is our calculator for numbers, measurements, and logical type problems. This is not the decision maker that you want to be using when it comes to emotions, people, and life. That's what this one's for, your authentic self. Your authentic self is used to solve problems when it comes to people, emotions, and life. All right, so we use our authentic self, and then we go relative to that person. How would I rather feel towards that person? All right, so say for example, they've done something wrong by you. There's nothing you can't be happy about the situation, what they've said or done, right? But we also don't want to be stuck in a negative emotion, because then it becomes toxic for us. So to me, the first part is understanding why that person did what they did. So this is where psychology can come in and can be quite useful, because it will explain the dynamic of how that dynamic come together in the first place and what brought it apart in the end. And that's useful information to know. To me, I like to simplify things and make it really practical. So for me, when a person has done something that I don't like, right, I just classify that as they've come from their ego. In that moment of time, they weren't coming from their authentic self, and they were coming from their ego. And when a person comes from their ego up here, your ego is destined to cause negativity, chaos, and drama, right? Especially when it comes to other people. So in that moment, they've chosen to come from their ego, and that's why it's caused a negative thing to happen in the relationship. Now, have I done that in the past? Yes, I have. Of course I have. So for me, because I've come from my ego for so much of my past, and I've made nearly every wrong decision there is to make, how could I ever judge another person, right? So that's where I want people to start thinking along the lines of understanding. And again, I'm not saying I condone what they do. There are people that I have forgiven, right? But I have not forgotten what they've said or what they've done, right? In fact, I'm hyper aware of it. But the emotion that I feel towards that person is more of an understanding emotion. So again, I'm not happy about it. I'm not negative about it. I'm just right in the middle, just nice and understanding. Can I accept what they've done or not? Maybe, maybe not. Doesn't really matter, because at least I'm feeling understanding towards them. Is more of a neutral type emotion. To take the concept a little bit deeper, and this again is a spiritual concept that I like to make practical and relevant to real life. And the concept is a reflection. So a reflection is we can only see something in someone else that already exists within us. All right? We can only see something in someone else that already exists within us. So the way that I was taught this is, if you were to get a bit of paper and write down all the things, think of one person you don't like and write down all the things you don't like about them. All right? So you make all the dot points. I don't like this about them, this about them, this about them. All right. Now think of another person, of someone that you do like, and write down all the things that you like about them. So, okay, write down all them points. Okay, all the points that you've written down, negative and positive, are all you. right? And this is the confronting part. They go, well, on the negative parts, it says that they lied, they cheated, they stole. I'm not like that. I don't do that. Well, the thing is, you may not do it outwardly to other people, but you may have done it to yourself. And if you're not doing it presently, you've probably done it to yourself in the past, right? Lying or dishonesty is a classic example. I'm an honest person, yes, but I'm sure that you've lied to yourself. At one point of your life, you've lied to yourself, right? So what that means is on a spiritual, emotional, and energetic level, that other person has come into your life to remind you to not be like them, right? If they're being dishonest or narcissistic or aggressive or whatever it is that you don't like, they're reminding you to be the opposite. They're reminding you to be understanding, kind, caring, loving, supportive, right? So on a deeper level, they're reminding you to do the opposite. On the surface and the reality level, right, we don't like what they've done. Again, so there's nothing's going to change that. We still don't like what they've done. So the way to handle it and the way to manage forgiveness, step one, is release the negative feelings that you have towards that person. They no longer serve a purpose. I'm not saying that you never feel negative towards that person or that you never feel that negative feeling ever again. What I'm saying is that if you're holding on to that resentment, that hatred, that anger, that's only affecting you, right? It's at the end of the day, that's affecting you more than it's affecting them. So from an emotional point of view, a spiritual point of view, release that negative emotion using your emotional brain, not this brain. You've got to use this one to do it. This one here is not capable of doing that. All right. The second part is look at them as a teacher. Now, a good teacher will either show you exactly what to do or what not to do. So in this case, they're showing you what not to do, how not to be, right? So in life, everyone is a reminder. Everyone's a teacher. They're showing you what you like about yourself and what you don't like about yourself. Okay, so learn that lesson of what they're trying to teach you. And then the final part is if you don't like that person, you don't have to be around them. Simple as that. Just spend time with people who value you, who treat you the way you want to be treated. Like the human mind works really well with lists, you know, and it may sound a little bit silly to begin with, but try it and then reflect over your life and watch how accurate these lists are. A list of your ideal partner, your ideal family member, your ideal friend, your ideal colleague. Right? Write down what your ideal list and just see if the people are actually matching your list. Because what it is if they're not matching your list, then they're pushing your buttons, right? And when your button gets pushed, they're like magnets, right? Your button gets pushed, causes a negative emotion like a magnet. It vibrates into the world and it attracts more people, more situations into your life that'll push your button again and again. And so it may not, because what'll happen is say you're in a workplace and there's someone's done the wrong thing by you, if you leave that workplace and go to another place, I guarantee, like a needle in a haystack, you'll find another person who will push that same button. They might do it in a slightly different way, but it's still that same button getting pushed. So you've got to learn that lesson, guys. The other concept behind all of it, which is probably, you know, equally as important, is owning up when you're in the wrong. And there's you know, countless times in the past where I've been in the wrong. But one thing that I've learned over the years that I've become good at is saying sorry. Like when I'm in the wrong, I say sorry, just simple as that. Because I'm not right all the time and I'm not perfect. So I know that I'm going to make mistakes, but I own my mistakes. And I've got to that point because I made a lot of mistakes in my past that I didn't own up to. You know, I wasn't taking responsibility for them. And part of my story was I did the AA program, and the AA program, for those people that don't know, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. And one of the steps in there is you've got to write letters to people that you've hurt in the past. So I did that and I found it quite healing. And the response that I got was not what I was expecting. So, you know, there's people that I've been rude to in the past, that I've lied to in the past, that I've bullied in the past. You know, so many things that I've done and people that I've affected, that what I did is I wrote some of these key people a letter just explaining that I was sorry, and I didn't want anything back. The pure intention was just to let them know that I was in the wrong. I was coming from my ego, and I did it through my own insecurities or my own mental or emotional stuff that I hadn't worked on at that point in my life, and I was sorry. And I just got this response, such a loving response, that like it was just such a deep and heartfelt thank you. You know, and I don't think there's as much of this going on in the world as there should be. It's just saying sorry, that simple thing, and just meaning it. Just like, you know what, I fucked up there. I made that mistake and I'm sorry. Simple as that. Just learning how to say sorry. Sometimes the hardest people to say sorry to are the ones we care and love the most, right? But it's just one of them things in life. As we develop as people and as we evolve, it's one of the life skills that we would want to get better at. It only enhances our life, because what happens is, instead of trying to make out that we're superior and everyone else is inferior, it levels the playing field. We're all equal. We're all even. It's just a different people are up to different points in their journey compared to other people, and that doesn't make that right or wrong. You know, there's 7 different areas of life. Some people are excelling or have gone further down their journey and their path in certain areas, but not so much in other areas. So does that mean they're right or wrong? No, it doesn't matter. It's just that's where they're up to. So where I'm coming from, I've made mistakes. I'm not perfect. So therefore, I'm not going to be a judgmental person. I'm going to be an understanding person, because the moment I start judging other people, I become a very easy target, because I've done a lot of things wrong in my past. I've made a lot of mistakes. So it's not even worth that. Now that I've experienced the other side of being a more authentic and more understanding person, I can tell you from experiencing both sides, this is a much happier place to be. And at the end of the day, that's why I love doing forgiveness, because at the end of the day, the authentic part of me loves to feel good, right? So I go through my whole life and I think of all the people who I've affected, and all the people who have pushed my buttons. And I use the techniques that I use in the Franklin method to release the negative emotions I have attached to that person. So I'm at peace with that situation. I'm at peace with that person. I'm at peace with that situation, because then I get to feel good. So then the magnets in my body are now attracting more positive people, more positive situations into my life. So I hope that helps, guys. Understanding forgiveness from that authentic place inside of you, and just being able to say sorry, owning your own stuff and saying sorry. So yeah, guys, hope that helps. Enjoy your day.